Hi, it's great to be chatting to you. This is the first week of June and we're coming to what would naturally be our end of term. Looking forward to exam results and graduations coming. But as you all know, we're not in that position this year with the current pandemic. We've currently no students on campus and we're not going to be doing physical graduations, but hopefully for all our students, seeing them into the next phase of their lives through online ceremonies, and graduation will be postponed until later in the year, when we hope to have a ceremony to celebrate graduation, though all our students will actually get their parchments later on in the summer. These are very challenging and difficult times. We've lived through the surge of the pandemic and are now trying to figure out how we rebuild our societies across the world, and our responsibility in Queen's is to figure out how we rebuild and reimagine what university might be like over the next year or two. The pandemic is now under control following our period of quarantine and social distancing and all of the measures that were brought in to control the virus. But we're now in the process of re-engaging, and that in itself will be challenging. New things such as contact tracing, having various social and behavioural constraints on what we can do for the foreseeable future will make this a very different summer for us, but I hope a summer that everyone can find some time to relax, enjoy each other's company, reconnect with families, etc., as we move out of the various constraints that have been put on us to control this very difficult pandemic. Our students are mostly through their exams and exam boards, and we look forward to them completing. But with students who will be transitioning from one year to another, and we're now also beginning to think through how we will deal with the next academic year and the students who will join us for the next term. Much of the educational delivery will be online, as well as having some in-person education. The next number of weeks, and indeed right through the summer, will be the challenge of getting as much of our education onto the digital platforms that can allow us to still deliver really high quality education in a blended way with whatever constraints we have to work to in terms of students being in indoor spaces with the appropriate physical distancing. There's lots of work being undertaken in the university to work out how we do this, and there will be lots more over the next couple of months on how we're going to engineer our estate in a way that will allow us still to deliver some tutorials, practicals, and in-person contacts in a safe way that will allow for good education. I want to thank everyone who has adapted so well to the challenges that we've had over the last few months. The university has responded in a fantastic and collaborative way to make sure that our staff are looked after, but that the students have finished the year with as good an experience as we can deliver during this time. We are now into a recovery phase, and that will initially be around getting some of our laboratories going across the faculty, and indeed across all three faculties. And in MHLS we hope to have our first scientists back in their laboratories by the 8th of June. This will be in a phased way. We're going to take this one step at a time, very carefully, so that we ensure the safety of all of our staff and in due course our students. There's been a lot of work already between the various centres and research laboratories in schools to develop the right context for returning in a phased way. This will include having tape on the floor to indicate 2 metres. It will address issues around face covering and cleanliness. Hand washing will be critically important in our re-entry, and making sure that surfaces are wiped so that there is as little opportunity as possible for transmission from inanimate surfaces. But that is all being very carefully supervised, and I would ask you for patience in getting back into labs, and then in parallel we will begin to think about how we can manage various parts of our educational estate. We'll start off with the areas where students undergo clinical training, but we'll be looking at all of the educational delivery rooms, whether it's lecture theatres or rooms for small group tutorials, so that we can make sure that they're safe for use and manage how students and staff access those. The governance of the university during the pandemic has also been a little bit different, but is now returning to some of its normal processes. We had a major incident team which met 3 times a week initially, which is just in the process now of finishing and moving to a programme recovery group. And part of that is that each school is running a recovery programme led by the head of school and some senior academics to make sure that we have the right planning in place for returning to the business of educating our students, undertaking high quality research, and really impacting and supporting our society. The university has had an opportunity to contribute to the COVID pandemic in terms of mitigating its impact by supporting the health services and the wider community in both research and also in developing, for example, face covers for the intensive care units, supporting with our staff and our students moving into employment early to increase the capacity within the NHS. All of this has been done with incredible collaboration and enthusiasm, and it's been great to see new ways of working which have, I think, changed how we do things, and I believe in the next number of years where we'll still have some issues to deal with around COVID-19, that we will have changed how we do our business in a way that I think will stand us in really good stead to be a much more agile, responsive and caring university for the future. There's a number of good deliveries online already. We have a very helpful website which is a place where academics and teams from around the university have contributed through their research, through their publications, or through just commentaries and blogs on what they've done, and Mark Lawler will tell you more about that. There's also some TED Talks coming up, which I think you'll find very helpful and very interesting, just reflecting on some of the challenges that we've lived through over the last few months. So I want to just thank you for joining this short blog. I hope that you're finding ways to ensure that you're keeping well during this time, that you're contributing to the university and to wider society by making sure that you're supporting students, continuing research, supporting the academic processes that are in place, because this is important that we maintain the business that we are employed to do in the university, and continue to do that as well as is possible with the current restrictions. Again, I hope you have a good summer and you enjoy some time off. I hope the weather in June, July and August is as good as we've had over the last few weeks, and Northern Ireland will be a wonderful place to hopefully enjoy some vacation time. Thank you, and look forward to talking to you again in the near future.